Hi, this is Ken of Rist Innovations. Today I'm really excited to tell you about this new product I've brought into the shop. It's this Bambulab 3D printer. I'm going to focus on a series of videos for the very beginner, someone who maybe has absolutely no experience with 3D printing. So first we'll go through the basics. I'll show how to set up this particular printer, being able to print prints that you can find on the internet for free. And also, eventually, I'll also go into the details of how you can design your own prints, your own designs, your own models to be able to print custom designs. So I'm really excited to get started. So let's focus on unpacking this printer and let's get it set up. First, I'll mention this is a really heavy box. So I'm going to open it up here, and then I'm going to put it down on the floor to be able to bring the printer up out of the box. So you want to just be careful that you're lightly cutting so you don't damage anything inside. Notice how it has these handles. This is what we're going to use to actually pull the printer up out of the box. So we'll remove this packaging material. Now you want to really bend at the knees because this thing is heavy. And there are three spools of filament that are in the bottom of the box. So the three spools of filament that came with the printer are all PLA, which is a polylactic acid, which is typically made from cornstarch. So it is recyclable depending on how it's processed. And this one here is called PLA Basic, and it's a green color. Then we have PLA CF. That's for carbon filled, so that will provide a stronger filament versus just the standard PLA. This one happens to be black. And the third one is a PLA support material. And I'll get into more details of when you would use something like this. We're going to focus on the other two PLA filaments to make our first parts. We have a quick start guide that's on top here, so it's important to read those instructions. This is a great little tool. It's a little plastic scraper, so it won't mar up the sides of the printer. This is the tempered glass lid that goes on top of the printer. I'm removing some more packaging material. This is the accessory box. We'll take a closer look at what's inside this in a minute. Here are all the parts that came out of the accessory box. This is the little 5-inch LCD screen that we'll attach. This is an extra hot end, which has the 0.4 millimeter diameter nozzle on the tip. A couple of cords that will connect the AMS unit. This is a filament holder, power cord, glue stick, a couple little cutters that are used to cut the filament, some Allen wrenches, a little clean out tool for the nozzle, and some other miscellaneous hardware and some lubricant. So we're going to use these Allen wrenches now to be able to take more of the printer apart so we can get some of the pieces out from inside. We have to remove these two screws here that are marked with the red arrows. That will allow us to remove the AMS unit out of the printer. The AMS unit is the automated material system, which is where you will put the filament spools. And this is the AMS unit. Next we need to remove this plastic piece, which is really just in there for shipping to hold everything together. And there's a number of screws that we'll need to remove. So once you remove the 4 screws, this plastic piece just pops right out. This is the Bambu cool plate, and we'll talk about this in a little bit. Time to remove the cardboard from the tool head. Also time to remove this foam from the poop chute. This is the AMS unit where the spools of filament will go. There are actually some little spots here where the desiccant material is to keep the humidity down by absorbing moisture. These little pieces pop off, and this is the pocket where the desiccant is placed. So just remove the desiccant from the plastic bag, put it back in. Do the same for the other side. Now we're looking at the back of the AMS and the back of the printer. We want to connect this Teflon tube from the AMS down into the back of the printer. There's this little fitting right here. It's just a matter of pushing it in, and it locks in place. Now it's time to attach this 4-pin cable and this 6-pin cable to the printer. The 4-pin cable goes down here. Next, it's time to attach this spool holder. Notice that if you read carefully, it says top to orient it properly. You'll use this spool holder for applications of spools that don't fit into the AMS or that are not permitted to be put into the AMS, like in the case of a certain type of filament called TPU, which is a very flexible filament that just doesn't work in the AMS. Now I need to remove 3 screws here, here, and here to release the hotbed. Next we're going to install the LCD screen. Carefully pull out the cable, and we're going to attach it into the back of the LCD screen. I recommend that you download the Bambulab app to your phone. It's called Bambu Handy. This will allow you to link up your printer to your account, and you will be able to monitor the printer remotely, including seeing live video of your project that is being printed. I will have a separate video on the detailed instructions of how to load the Handy app. Now let's go back to the printer to use the LCD screen. Okay, we've powered up the printer. And we're going to set the language for English in my case. I lost some of my video on these next steps, so I have included an excerpt from the Bambulab tutorial. The next step is to connect your printer to your local area network by finding your Wi-Fi. If you have already installed the Bambu Handy app to your phone, you can scan the QR code to link your printer to the app. Read through the terms and conditions screens. You may see a message that a firmware update is available. I recommend that you do that now. Next, it's time to calibrate the printer. The next step is to apply glue using this glue stick to the cool plate. Now normally you would think adding glue would actually be something that would help in the adhesion, but actually it's acting as a release agent, because if you don't put the glue on here, the PLA will stick so tightly and so strongly to this plate that it'll actually be difficult to get your actual print off. So that's the reason for adding the glue. So it's just an even kind of a coat. And that should do the trick. So we're going to go ahead and put the cool plate back inside, and it has a strong magnet that's going to attach it. So it's a matter of pushing it back to where it hits those little stops back there, and then it locks very securely. So I'm reenacting the initial calibration because I had lost some of the video when I first started the printer up. So you'll see there's still packaging foam material in there that needs to be removed. We'll be able to remove this foam after we calibrate it, because it'll bring the bed here up farther away from the bottom, and then we can easily remove it. Okay, now the system's homed. So now I'm going to go here to Utilities and Calibrate, and I'm going to hit Start Calibration. I've removed the foam pieces now out from the bottom. Now it's cleaning the nozzle tip. Now it's homing the tool head. Now it's calibrating the micro lindar. Now it's doing the auto bed leveling. So it's touching the plate in multiple positions with the nozzle tip. That's recording the distance. Now it's going through this sweeping XY Mach mode where it's vibrating to try to find resonance frequencies and compensate for them. So now calibration is done. What's interesting about the Bambulab product is they have an RFID tag, which is right there, and the machine will actually recognize what material it is and even the color. So I'll show you what I mean. So you just drop it inside here. I'm putting it in the slot number 1, and then I'm just pushing it in here. So the AMS is determining through the RFID tag what the material is and even the color. And let me show you what it looks like on the screen. So if we go to the filament tab, you can see that the machine has recognized that we have green PLA in position number 1. So one thing that's not mentioned anywhere in the quick start guide is this micro SD card that's needed if you want to be able to record any of your video based on the camera that's mounted inside the machine. So let me show you how we set that up. We're going to go to this tab right here, and then you can see it says micro SD card, no micro card, and then it says format. So I'm going to put this in now. It goes into this little slot in the side of the LCD screen. You have to push it in there with your fingernail until you can't see it. So we need to format the micro SD card. We need to turn the video off and then hit format. It says you cannot recover any data. I don't have anything on this card. It's brand new. We're going to hit format, and now it's formatting. So I guess my one minor complaint is that, for spending all this money on this machine, which is, close to $1,500, that I'm surprised that they wouldn't have included just a small micro SD card, because they provided other accessories. Just surprised they wouldn't have included that. But be that as it may, it says here now that the micro SD card shows that it's recognizing it, and I think we're all set. So I'm going to push the video back on. Next, let's pick a file to run that is local to the printer here. And let's do our infamous Benchy. You can see that it has identified that we have our green filament, PLA. It says here it's going to take 24 minutes, use about 12 grams, and we can just hit the print now button. It's going through the heated bed preheating. It'll clean the nozzle tip, then it'll do the auto bed leveling, do that sweeping XY mode, and then it will calibrate the extrusion. And to remove the plate. Let's see how easy it comes off. Extremely easy. Check out the detail in this thing. Unbelievable. Being able to make these holes at these angles, being able to bridge over the door and the window, these overhangs. It's a magnificent piece. I'll point out a little trick that my friend told me about. It's this cheap plastic little scraper, so this won't hurt the cool plate at all, and it easily is able to remove any of the test material and preventing that from getting up through your fingernails. If you avoid, so you can avoid using your fingernails to get rid of this stuff. Cleans it up like super easy. Now we're going to go to the Bambulab website under software, and we're going to download the Bambu Studio. The Bambu Studio is their slicer software that will allow you to convert your 3D files into the software code called G-code that your printer can understand. This first part allows you to check which printer you have and what are the typical types of filaments that you will be using. You can always update this later. Okay, let's take a design that's on printables, in this case this little benchy dry dock. Let's download it and take it right to Bambulab Studio. And we're going to open up Bambu Studio. You can choose the settings, like which cool plate, hot plate you will be using, what type of filament, and many other parameters. So on my printer, I have the 0.4 millimeter diameter nozzle. I have the cool plate that I've just put on, and I'm going to make this out of Bambu PLA silk. All we need to do is slice our part, and this says that it's going to take about 33 minutes, and that includes 7 minutes that it's going to do all the prep work. So all we do now is hit print plate. It comes up on this screen, bed leveling, time-lapse video, flow calibration. We're going to use the AMS. This is the blue that we chose. So I'm just going to hit send, sending the configuration. It's been successful. Now you can see the status. Right now the heat bed is preheating and it's going to take 33 minutes. We can turn on the video. And now we're watching it live. You can see over here on the right side is where we have the AMS and all the information on the filaments. And up here in this upper corner, we have the nozzle temperature, the heated platen temperature, and the temperature inside the printer. And then this is the speed that you can set the printer to. It has anywhere from silent, standard, sport, and ludicrous modes. We're going to leave it at the standard mode. Here's the time lapse of the print, and here's what the Bambu Studio looks like at the end. It shows that it's 100% complete.
Teach me more, 3D printer man. Oh, I can't wait.
Now let's look at some glam shots for all the pieces I made on this printer this week. So I've had this Bambulab printer for less than a week, and I'm really impressed with the way this thing has been running. In some cases, I was running parts all night long, and I would come back the next morning and it would be done, especially on the larger piece like that poop chute that I made for the printer itself. But again, all these other parts, whether it be toys or geometric shapes or some tools and fixtures, I mean, they all really came out beautiful. So I only had one failure, and I even consider this a success because I received a notice on my phone that there was a problem with the print, that it detected spaghetti failure. And sure enough, when I came down and checked it, I was able to abort the job, and therefore I didn't waste any more of the filament or my time. So I am really impressed with this printer, having used it for a week. For my next video, I'm going to discuss how I decided to purchase this particular printer versus several other printers that are out there on the market. So when that video is ready, that link will be here. Thanks for watching.